Hey YouTube, today I'm going to show you how to put together a Smith & Wesson J Frame. One of these. Okay, the first thing we're going to do is get this ready. So we're going to want to put this little arm back on our trigger. Okay, there's a little tiny spring in here. See that little leg? That little leg of that spring has to sit on this short leg right here. And this is going to sit in the trigger like that. Okay? Put that leg up there like that. Look at that spring. Okay. Now as you can see that little spring in there. That little spring right there is on top of that leg, and it puts tension on this. That's ready to go. Now the first thing that I do when I'm putting everything back together is our cylinder stop. This little spring right here goes in there, like so. Just like that. You got your little spring. And this little guy works, poking up. Alright, so what we're going to do first is put our spring on our firing pin and then place that in the firing pin channel, which is right there. Just like that. Now we're going to depress that and put our pin in. Like that. Now we're going to install our cylinder release bolt. There's a little hole in the back of this, and this little tiny spring is going to slide right in there like that. And then this little tiny detent is going to slide right there in that hole. What you're going to do is set it in there where it needs to be, and we're going to have to depress this detent to get it to slide in there. And how I always do that is I use a little flathead screwdriver and I just stick it in like that, kind of pry it that way and push down at the same time. Now it's in there. You can kind of it's good to go. Now you can still push it out because there's nothing holding it in. So we'll flip it over. I'll put our little lever on like that, and our little nut. Now you want to hold it on the back side so that you don't push it out and have to start over. Set that in there like that. Make sure you're not cross-threading it, and just give that little screw a little snug to make sure it works. Alright, now we can put our trigger in. We got this little leg on earlier. That little hole right there is going to sit right on that little stud. And this little knuckle right here is going to go right in that channel of that cylinder stop. I'm going to pull this leg back just a little bit, set it on there where it needs to go, kind of work it a little bit, and let go of that leg. And that's how it goes in. This little leg right here fits into this little channel right there and right there. You can see that poking out right there. And that's how you install the trigger. Next, we're gonna install this little guy. I think this is the trigger return spring. Got that, and this little deal right here. What you do is you pull this little trigger back a little bit. You need to pull this back so you can push the trigger back. And this little guy is going to slide right on in there. We'll help it a little bit. Just like that. You can see that little guy's sitting right there. Okay. Now you see this little guy? That little hole right there. That little knuckle is going to go right in there, just like that. You got to kind of manhand it a little bit, but you push that spring in and push it down on there like that. Now that little rod is pushing on this body right here, and that's pushing the trigger back. Alright, that's done. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is put our hammer in. It's basically going to pull this little guy, this back, depress the trigger, and set our hammer in on that little stud right there, like that, just like that. Now we can install our hammer spring, which slides in right there like so. We pull this back again, pull your trigger just a little bit, pull that little guy out, and now it's done, man. That is done. It is ready for this plate to go on the side. If you look, there's a little tab right there, and it's a little contoured right there. So what I do is stick that in there first, kind of simultaneous with that guy, like that, and just press it into place. Okay, so we got our cylinder. Put a little oil on our extractor. Put our big spring in. Now this thing's reverse threaded. Alright. That one. Screw. Just like that. That's how you do it.